And that in itself was a pretty cool adventure.
All right. Well, Mike, I want to thank you because you've helped us continue on something of a tradition here, which is starting the stream in mid-sentence from our preview, our little green room discussion. And that was really well done. Fantastic. And we got Rob, V3PCP, chiming in. Great to have you with us, Rob. And KR4JGD left the first comment, and that was a few hours ago now. So that was fantastic. All right, well, let's get going. This is our March stream, the low power hour, the newly christened low power hour, and we're happy to have back in our midst after a couple of months away, Dr. Chris, Kilo 2 Charlie Juliet Bravo. Hey, Chris, something looks different about you tonight.
That's right. I need a haircut. No, nope. And probably many of our viewers have probably gone down this path. I had cataract surgery done on both eyes. The second one was yesterday, and yours truly does not need glasses anymore. It's a wonderful thing. And it's been. I still have the phantom glasses on. You'll probably see me during the stream try to fix them. But or take them off and clean them. But we were the surgery. Both surgeries went without a problem, so all good.
That's great news. Terrific news. Okay, hey, listen, we our special guest tonight is Mike, K0VIM. Mike, I got to tell you, I look at your call sign and I want to call you Kevin, and I'm going to be fighting this all night long. But by the end of the night, I know that I'm going to be calling you Mike because that's your name.
It happens, and I won't miss a beat. I promise.
Good stuff. Well, Mike is the traveling ham, and I mean literally traveling. I didn't realize this until I was just speaking with him a few moments ago. But he and his family are literally an RV lifestyle family. They've been away from home for a long time. We're going to get into all that and all the amazing locations that Mike has been able to operate ham radio portable from. I think this is like some of these locations are bucket list stuff for most of us. And you seem to make it routine. But first things first, I want to go around the table here, see what people have been up to for the past month or so. So, Chris, cataract surgery aside, what's going on over your way?
Well, ham radio wise, it's been of course, I've been a little busy. I did take a brief 2-week trip to Florida, so I could thaw out a little bit, which was that's where I was last month when you guys are doing a stream. I was actually basking in mid-80s weather. So anyway, I did get on, do a little bit of ham radio stuff during the ARRL DX contest. I think they had a couple of weeks ago, just to try to pick up a country here and there on some bands that I may not have had them on. So conditions were okay. I wouldn't say it was great, but I think I did work like something new on like 10 and 15. But that was about it. I've also some of you might remember that I did a little bit of a rant video a couple of months ago about repeaters and the nobody around, or when there's a net, people just check in, in and out and that kind of thing. And well, I had a lot of people agreed with me, and I had some people take me to task. So I said, okay, then I will, the criticism accepted. So what I started doing was in one of the local repeaters here, I started to just throw my call sign out there. And sure enough, I did meet a couple of local guys. One of them, of course, I forget his call, wrote a book all about POTA. So, and he's local up here in one of the local clubs. So
is his name Don?
That's him. That's him.
I know Don. Yeah. Yep. Don and I have made a number of contacts together. Yep. Good guy.
Yeah, that's him. Yep. And I just threw my call sign out there and I wound up talking to him. So a couple of guys, of course, they're really kind. They invited me to their club meetings, which are on Tuesday nights. I got church stuff going on Tuesday nights. So, it was good that they were just very welcoming and that kind of thing. So I was like, okay, criticism accepted. Although I think the experience I talked about in that video, I think a lot of guys had said they had the same kind of experience. Actually, if you go through the comments, you'll see some horror stories of what happened with guys on repeaters. So anyway, so that's been the ham radio stuff lately. I've been just busy with all sorts of other things going on. So, and get my eyes fixed. So.
Good stuff. Hey, fantastic. Just before we get move over to Tim, I just wanted to say hi to some of the folks there. Rich, N4VS, great to have you with us. Kevin from Iowa, from the cornfield, always nice to have you with us, Kevin. We got Rob V3PCP. We got Shane, Scout 75. Hey, Shane, hope you're doing well. Soda, Sat Operator. Why did I want to say Soda? Nice to have you all with us. So, yeah. Let us know as new people join, what your call sign is if you got one, and where you're at. And now, Tim, what's going on over your way?
I'm just recovering from the big blizzard.
Yeah. How much snow did you get?
Well, it started a week ago with we were going to get 3 feet.
Oh,
then it was maybe 18 inches, and then we might get 6, and then it's going to rain. So we actually ended up getting about 2 inches, but it was real heavy. It was the real heavy heart attack snow. Ice. I did a post office run at like 1 a.m, and it was frozen rain at that point.
oh,
Nasty. But now it's all melted, and we're kind of back to normal.
All right, fantastic. You dodged that bullet.
Yeah, right.
Good. All right, how's things going with Aetherwave?
They're cooking along. Everything's fine. Working on new stuff. Yeah, trying to keep Philip off my back.
Well, yeah, good luck with that one. Jeez.
Yeah, I know.
Speaking of, where is that young man tonight?
He was doing
seen him in the chat.
He
keeps finding these excuses to duck.
Yeah, he's family something.
Family. Jeez, what the heck?
There's YouTube and there's ham radio. Okay, that's it.
Good stuff. Hey, Mike.
Just commitment,
I really have to learn to let Tim finish. I keep butting him in. Mike, what's been up by now? I know we're going to get into some of your travels and all the rest of it. And by the way, we just had Mike N2MAK come on board. Always nice to have you with us, Mike. Yeah. Mike, last month or so, without giving too much away, there were stuff we're going to get into later. What have you been up to?
We spent really the last 14 months going up and down the West Coast and in seeing a part of the country that none of us had seen before, my wife and I included, and really got ourselves whipped by the time we were done, and really laid low through December and January, and just here in the last month or so, just started kind of getting active again. And I just started going out and doing the portable radio adventures again, and getting a few more videos recorded, and just kind of getting back in the flow of things. But we were pretty tired there after a bit. It is a very busy and draining lifestyle. Planning fatigue is a thing that I mean, you can put a lot into planning a vacation for a week or two. I mean, imagine 14 months, and there's just so many variables, and things are always changing, and you got to plan and replan. Sometimes you wonder why you plan at all. But we're just trying to get back into the groove, and have had a couple good ones here lately. It's been good getting back in the groove.
Good news. I want to dig into all of that stuff because I just think that's absolutely fascinating. Hey, we got some other people who are chiming in here. I just want to cover off some of this. Hey, John. No, I have not. Charlie Yankee 0 Sierra. This seems like an odd time of year for them to be going out there. I mean, it's still pretty rough weather, I would think, but that would be a nice catch. And Mike N2MAK is coming back at Tim saying vertical antennas are far superior.
Yeah, okay.
All right, here comes the trouble. Here we go. Here we go.
Can I say?
Stirring the pudding.
Tracy just bought one.
Well, if you look over my shoulder here, you can see it. That is look, who did that? I didn't do that. Oh, I did do that. Is that that's an AI feature? I don't know. I got to learn how to turn that off. That is a Hustler 6B TV I just picked up off the used market. It looks to be in really good condition, but you never know with used stuff, right? You never know. And of course, the traps are all enclosed. I've always wanted to try one. And finally, I have my chance, and I'm thinking I'll use it for field day. But if I'm going to use it for field day, I better do at least a test run with it first to make sure it's actually going to work. But you know, I always take a backup plan anyway. But I'll let you know, Tim, once I get. Do I expect it to perform like an N9 SAB Wyndham? Heck no. Am I going to have some fun with it? I would think so. Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be fun to try. I've done it.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look. Hey, we got Rob PCP. My friend Tugsy will be my guest around a remote station in Iqaluit this weekend. If you're looking for Iqaluit, an extremely rare Canadian province of Nunavut, you know, get on this weekend and see if you can hunt down and make a contact with Tugsy. Okay, what else?
No, if I were Rob, see, I would tweet out the frequency I was going to be on.
That would be good.
Be on it.
He probably
You
doesn't
can
know.
never be sure, though, right? Can never be sure. Tango Oscar Mike, N3WS, great to have you with us. Hope you're doing well. All right, what else we got going on? Okay, so just maybe two other notes that I'll touch on before we get into the general conversation here. A couple of things that happened to me over the past couple of months. I'm pretty sure a couple months ago I mentioned that I had to send my Yaesu FT710 into the hospital to have some work done. I don't remember if I mentioned it last month. Not sure that I did, but I had what I consider to be remarkably fast turnaround time. And I say this because I've never had to send a radio in for warranty work before. And the radio dealer here in Canada, the name of Radio World, they don't do that kind of servicing, I guess, at their Toronto office, and that's basically it. So they had to ship it over to Yaesu in California. So you got the international border to deal with. I had it back in 3 weeks. They gave it a clean bill of health. They fixed it up. And not only that, but Radio World is about an hour drive for me to get there and then to come back. So in this day and age of expensive gas, the guy called me from Radio World to say, hey, your rig's here. And I said, you want us to ship it to you? I said, well, how much is that going to cost? He says, it's all covered under warranty. So pretty cool. I was impressed with that. You know, fast turnaround. Yaesu took care of it. No questions asked. And nice. it was for those that missed it. It was a display issue, the touch screen. The touch screen was not responsive in the bottom right corner. And the tech at Radio World was able to see that, verify that before he sent it down to Yaesu, and they replaced it with a new screen. Okay, that was a happy story. I have an unhappy story to bookend that one, and that involves, I remember bragging to Chris a couple months ago about my new ICOM R75, new to me, ICOM R75 shortwave radio. I recently purchased it back in the fall. Immaculate, just looks like it came out of the box, brand new. The fellow that owned it had 3 optional filters that he included with it, working unbelievably well. It's just fabulous. I had it sitting right here on the shelf a couple of months ago. Well, I decided, you know what, I wanted to do some rearranging here on the shack, so I took it off the shelf. I boxed it back up, put it over with my other stuff over here. And then a few weeks later, I missed it. All right, I'm going to pull it out of the box. I'm going to set it up on the shelf here again, and I'm going to listen to it the odd time. Nothing. I turned it on. It powers up. There's a little bit of static, but there is no signal. Nothing at all. So something happened while I was boxing it up. I don't know, maybe an electrostatic discharge, something like that. And I tried everything I could think of. I tried, different antennas, different coaxial patch cords. I had the antenna, which was working beautifully, plugged directly into the back of the 710, plugged it directly into the back of the R75. The R75 has an antenna switch. I made sure it was in the right position. Nothing. So I have a dead ICR75. So very sad, very sad. I don't know if I can get it fixed. I haven't investigated that yet, but so there you go. That's
Did you try apologizing to it?
you know what? Actually, I did not.
It might just be angry.
I'll try that after the stream.
Don't touch the equipment.
Yeah. If it's working, just leave it. Right. The old adage for sure.
Right, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's kind of strange, though. I mean, the thing worked and then it didn't. That doesn't make sense.
From fully beautifully operational to nothing. Like just
the power connection.
And I went on to Groups.io. I did a whole bunch of searching to see if anybody had reported anything like this before, and I didn't come across anything. Doesn't mean it's never happened, but you know how these things can happen. There could be, an FET or something at the RF input that just gets static sensitive and pop, and away you go. So what concerns me the most is that was produced in the era of surface mount technology. So I may have trouble finding somebody who can actually work on it, let alone fixing it. All right. Hey, we got something from Rich N4VS here. The Diamond X510 he got was in great shape. He was telling me he bought a used one, sanded it, and began repainting it gray. I was surprised how little factory paint was on the antenna. Probably a planned obsolescence thing. Yeah, it absolutely could have been. All right. We've gone around the table here, guys. Thanks for putting up with all that. But I want to now let's talk to our guest, Mike. Mike, all right. I want you to set the table for people who are not familiar. Now, Mike has a channel, and I'm going to put it up on screen in a minute here once Mike starts talking. Called the Travelin Ham, and Mike, will you sort of give us the backstory to your channel, to your lifestyle, what has led into your being able to do what you're doing? Can you talk to us? And actually, if you wouldn't mind starting out, how long have you been a ham? When did you get into being a ham, and then move into that?
Sure. Yeah, those things all kind of happened in parallel. Actually, I started getting ham curious about the end of 2018. I started looking up information on YouTube and started studying for my exams right away, for my tech exam. I started watching the Whiskey 4 Echo Yankee channel. That's Gary and Dave, and they did a fantastic job of preparing me for my examinations, and they still do a fantastic job on Gary's channel, Whiskey 4 Echo Yankee. And in the process of studying for all of that, I made the mistake of asking my wife to plan for a summer vacation. We had just gotten a pop-up trailer, a pop-up camper the fall before, or the summer before, and we enjoyed it. We liked taking it out for a weekend, but taking it out on Friday evening and getting all set up and enjoying Saturday, but then having to pack it all up on Sunday and take it home, it just left us wanting more. We weren't getting enough out of it for all the time that we were spending in it. We thought, hey, let's take 2 weeks off in a row and take a vacation in the summer. Where could we go? What could we do? And I knew she loves research and stuff, and I knew she would just dig right into that and have a blast. But she came back with, and this was in January of 2019 now, she came back with, I found there's a lot of people out there who go out on vacation in their RVs and they never come home. And we'd had a particular stressful time, through the holidays a little bit. Nothing big, but just holiday stuff, and work had been a little stressful. And I looked at her and I thought for a second, yeah, I could do that. I could totally do that. And we just started walking down that path. And at the same time, we're getting the house ready to sell and going through all the process of selling almost everything we own. I'm also studying for my ham radio exams, and I got those done in April. I took the tech in general at the same time, and I was interested. I got interested just out of a need that I was feeling to be more self-reliant, in any kind of grid down situations, any kind of lack of communications, to be able to do something myself. What would that be? What would that look like? And that search led me to ham radio and certain channels on YouTube, and I started researching quite a bit into it. But later that year, we sold our house in October of 2019 and spent October to like March of 2020 getting ready to actually travel. So we're moving into the RV. We bought a 30-foot fifth wheel, which the measurements they give are just the box. So if you measure out to the nose, it's actually 34 feet. So a 34-foot long fifth wheel. We're renovating it. We're moving into it. And we get to about February 28th to March 1st, and we're done, and we're ready to set sail on March 1st of 2020. And we had about 2 or 3 weeks of good traveling before the world started falling apart. And, when we had to figure out what we're going to do with all that. But, and like a lot of people in that downtime, I started looking at, okay, well, what do I want to do with this ham radio thing? I had watched some POTA videos, and I knew that lined up pretty good with what I was wanting to do now that we're in this RV, and the interest just kind of grew from there. I got my first real operating in the field day of 2020 and made 10, 11, 12 contacts, something like that, as we were traveling out east, and started doing some POTAs here and there. And about the following year, we started traveling out west, doing a lot of national parks in 2021, and that's when POTA really set the hook in me, and I really started enjoying going out. Not just going out and activating parks, not just pulling into a parking lot and sitting in my vehicle or activating, or finding a picnic table and activating. I'm sitting in Grand Canyon National Park, and I'm going to be sitting outside for 3 or 4 hours talking into this radio. I don't want to be in my campsite. I don't want to be in a parking lot somewhere just inside the park line. I want to be somewhere where I can look at the canyon for a few hours, and that's what I want to do. Now, if you're someone who does those other things, all power to you. If you like operating out of your vehicle, or you like operating in parking lots, whatever gets you out playing radio is fantastic. This is what does it for me. And I got a picture I'll show you here later of me on the edge of the canyon activating POTA from there, and I'm like, this is what I want to do. Sure, yeah, let's do.
All right, let me
just
pop those up.
Otherwise, I'll just ramble forever. This will give me some structure. Yeah, so that's
is it like Nomadland though?
What's that?
Did you ever see that movie Nomadland?
I haven't.
Check it out.
All right. Okay.
Well,
all right. I'll have to now.
And what they do with their gray water and stuff,
Oh, okay. Okay. Is it like a documentary or something,
yeah,
or is it
a movie? It won Best Picture 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll have to check that out. So this is our setup right here. That's our fifth wheel that we've been in for 6.5 years now. It's me, my wife, 2 kids. I have a daughter now that's 16 and a son that is 12. And gosh, my son now has spent half his life living in this RV. That's hard to fathom. But this is a really, yeah.
Do they go remote, or you homeschool them, or?
Yeah, we homeschool. So we've got a real nice online program that they do quite a bit through right now. There's so many resources now to homeschool. It's not at all like when we were kids.
Right.
Especially after
when I was a kid, there was a kid in the neighborhood who was homeschooled. He was just weird.
Yeah. That's how it was back then.
Like some creepy cult thing or something.
We still get some of that every once in a while here. People still have that impression, but yeah, this is our setup here, and this is actually a place in Texas, South Padre Island, where you can drive right down on the beach. So we're right on the Gulf, and I got the DX Commander set up there on the beach, and we're all having a great time. I think that was winter field day there. Let's see. I think I have the control here. I can go to next slide.
I like to call that cheater field day, but okay.
Well, that's because you're a lunatic.
Well, some people down in Texas have similar feelings about regular field day, I guess.
Yeah, well, there
It's
you go.
95.
That's
it's
a
humid
true,
down
that's a good
here.
point.
Yeah, I'm here for you, Texas guys. So it's just this is a map I keep of all my operations. So everywhere I've activated in the country,
Wow.
I put a little spot on there. And I like, there's in ham radio, we tend to look at a lot of things only to the granularity down to the state. Have I activated this state? Have I hunted this state? Have I made a contact in this state? And I've learned that I really like taking it down to the pinpoint accuracy like that, because
counties, bro, counties.
Sure, yeah, you can take it down to that level that does the same thing. But this, I can look at this and this tells me, sure, I've activated all the lower 48 states, but
Wow, great.
I can tell by looking at this, there's places I haven't been yet.
Yeah.
Which I'm just curious. It looks like obviously been in Connecticut. So which park or parks did you activate in Connecticut? Do you remember?
Connecticut was it was a trail, like airline state trail, something like that.
Okay.
It was fairly close to Newington, because we camped. We weren't camped in Newington to go to the ARRL,
right.
But it was a neighboring town, I think, and I want to say it was Airline State Trail.
Okay.
And so I could park right by a trailhead, and the trail itself actually went right through the parking lot. So I was literally 10 feet from the trail itself. Yeah, but that was Connecticut. Woo! I passed the quiz. I thought you had me there.
No, I'm just curious because I've obviously living up here. I've activated mostly state parks like which is a campground. My wife and I go camping, which is all Tracy's fault. And and I'll just drag all the gear out there and set it up and activate the park. So
sure.
Yeah, cool. Great.
So what's the go back?
Yeah, sure.
What's the one on Lake Michigan there? Is that the Indiana Sand Dunes?
If you're at the southern tip of Lake Michigan, that's Indiana Dunes National Park. And then there's a national forest that's halfway up Michigan.
So you'll have to
is the island.
You can come up 94, and then about a mile away from my house is K1000 or US 1000 now, right? And then you shoot over towards Rockford, and then there's like a Rock Cut State Park. That's a good one. And then you've got that whole western shore of Lake Michigan to do yet. You go on the
sure. Yeah. See that when you take it down to that granularity,
there's
still a lot of possibilities.
You screw around out here in the west.
Tim, forget that. What about Lake Superior? There's nothing there, and that is the best. That place is just awesome.
Minnesota and Wisconsin, we've cheated. We totally cheated this day.
There's no civil. But okay, I get it.
But that's why I like this map, because I can see stuff just like that. Otherwise, I say, "Oh yeah, I've activated Minnesota. Oh yeah, I've activated Wisconsin, but I haven't been there."
It looks like you made it as far as Mackinac.
Yep. Mackinac was the island up there on the north end of the lake. Yep.
We'll do Sault Ste. Marie, like from one end to the other. We'll get Tracy in on that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Come pick me up, man.
It's on the way.
You leave the family in the city for a weekend. They'll be fine, mostly.
So this is my site at Grand Canyon.
That's awesome.
This is where the light bulb kind of hits. You want to see the light bulb hitting? There it is.
There it is. Yep.
This is my spot.
Now that's a thumbnail right there.
That's where I want to. This is how I want a POTA. This is what gets my juices flowing and keeps me from getting bored. Nice. So I romanticize POTA a little bit. I don't want to just get inside the boundary. I want to find some kind of really special place to get to really get the juices flowing. My wife probably wishes I put that much effort in where I take her out at night. I might need to work on that. But this is on.
Don't you ever feel the need to just like stop for a little while and like stay in the same place for 3 or 4 days and then move on or?
Oh yeah, I mean when we travel, we generally stay in one spot for at least a couple weeks.
Oh, okay.
If we go any faster than that, we feel like we're going too fast, and things get too hectic. Because you got to remember, we're still we have online jobs, and kids got to do school. There's still real life stuff going on. It is not, as we say, it is not life on vacation. It is
Yeah, I don't
life
know.
on location.
Bro, you're driving the country in a Winnebago. That's not a whole lot of real life happening there, okay? Yeah, I don't think so.
There's still all kinds of regular stuff that we got to do and takes time. So
Okay.
if we spend less than 2 weeks in a spot, we feel like we're going too fast. And the reason 2 weeks is a number is because that's, of all the places, we like the boondock, we like to dry camp, so no hookups. I think we haven't had our RV plugged in now since October 24th, something like that.
Wow.
Or maybe longer. I think we're getting close to half a year of not being plugged in.
Wow.
Hey,
Wow.
Mike,
But there's usually a 2 week limit. There's a 2 week limit in staying in any of those spots in most places. So that's why we end up at 2 weeks.
Right.
Mike, this photo here. So
yeah,
I'm curious. Did you literally drive right up to there, or did that involve some schlepping to get to?
No, this is a spot that almost anybody can get to. This is at Moran Point. It's Moran Point on the south rim.
Check out the radio on the chair.
Yeah.
Nobody's schlepping that up a big old hill. Yeah.
I didn't hike too much with that TS. No. What's that? That's the 440, the TS 440. I did in one adventure. It's one of my first channel videos. I end up hiking, carrying that radio out into the field, and right after that, I started watching Tracy's videos reviewing that 891, and I'm like, okay, I think this is the radio that I'm wanting to switch to, because
don't watch Tracy's videos. It's going to cost you a lot of money.
I'm a pretty practical guy, so I was safe. I don't have a 705 or an FTX1 or a 710 or any of those things. But no, this is there's a parking lot not too far from there. I'm actually running my coax. It was a 50-foot coax, I think, from my truck. The antenna is mag mounted to my truck, parked in the parking lot. Now the main viewing area is kind of, let me point the right way. I can't point the right way. That way, down the image.
Reversed, yeah.
Yeah, to the right of this image is where the main point is. And I'm about 500 feet, I want to say, down the parking lot to the far end, away from the busy end.
Good.
There was a big dumpster right there at the end of the parking lot, so I'm like, okay, there won't be too many people here, so this is where I want to set up. But of course, if you do that in a national park and you park somewhere and you set up and you're sitting there looking at something, other people are going to come park. You will attract them. So there were other groups that would show up and park next to me and get out and walk around where I was operating. And, it was okay. I had tucked my wire in pretty good, so there weren't any tripping hazards or anything like that. But so I'm on a pretty prominent spot in the park, but I locate myself in such a way that I'm not too much of a danger to anybody else. That's another reason I like vertical antennas without a whole lot of horizontal wires, just by nature of the places that I'm setting up.
That's
but of course, it would be better if I would use a horizontal wire, right? Just from a hand radio perspective.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course.
No question.
Yeah. Hey, so Mike, okay, so here you are, and man, I was at the Grand Canyon back in the 90s, and I have very spotty recollection of it.
Looks the same.
That ground is mostly rock, is it not?
Yeah.
So you're not putting the spike in to hold your vertical. What are you using to hold the vertical upright?
Well, in this one, I'm mag mounted to the truck.
Oh, okay.
That's parked nearby. But I do, I assume everywhere I go that I'm not going to be able to put in stakes or hang things in trees, guidelines and things like that. Really, a lot of places that I go, horizontal wires just really freak me out. The Potter Performer is a nightmare for me for some of the places that I go, to have those elevated, radials where it could like clothesline a kid. The kind of places that I go, and I've activated with Greg KJ6ER, and I've seen where he activates and it would work fine, where he's at, and I'm sure a lot of other operators it works fine for. But for the kind of places I go, I like having that vertical in its small footprint. So if I were to do this today, I would probably locate my antenna closer to my location here, and I would use a tripod, which is what I use in most situations. And I've got 3 sandbags that I'll scoop some rock or sand into there on site and drop them on the legs. So I'm not driving anything into the ground. I'm not guying anything down and tying off to stuff. And that's a setup that I can pretty much take anywhere, and it works because I'm always in a different spot. I'm always in a different situation, and I'm not real sure exactly where I'm going to be activating. So that's what I need. I need that setup that can work anywhere.
I think that's a great idea for anybody like doing POTA. Just be prepared for that, because to your point, a lot of park rangers don't like you putting things in trees.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now you get to some. I mean, a lot of people activate a few parks a number of times, and you get used to your spot, and you can experiment a little bit more.
You can always do the
learn what the rules are and use them to your advantage. Go ahead.
Right. You can always do the hitch riser thing too. Was it last week or a couple of weeks ago? We were looking at that thing you buy on Etsy. You get a riser for your hitch, and there's a pole mount to it. That was pretty cool. I'll try that.
That's a slick setup too. Thing. That'd be a great way, a low footprint for a wire antenna.
Yeah, I did that. I've done that recently. I forgot the spider beam. Isn't that it, Tracy? The fiberglass. Yeah, I got one of those, and I found a guy on eBay that makes these 3D printed things that I put on the trailer hitch for an L-shaped thing. And
did you break yours?
Nope. No, it works great.
Phil broke his. Somehow he managed to.
Oh, that's an odd thing.
I know, right?
Oh, well, wait a minute.
I was like, wow, how did that happen? But he managed to like crack the whole thing. So I had to print him up like a almost like solid replacement thing for it.
Yeah, no, mine are holding up just fine. Now, mind you, I will say this: I haven't used them all that much, but the times I haven't had any issue with them. Let's put it that way.
Hey, Mike, just before we move on from that previous, because this is awesome. I want to get into that too. When I look at that location, I'm thinking about the rock there, and I'm thinking about, okay, what kind of impact does that have on your antenna? And does that have, what is there any special consideration that you have to apply to that scenario with that in mind?
Here's what I've done. So I've got my 17-foot chameleon vertical that I use in most places. I've got a T1000 Wolf River coil that I can team up with it to go to a lower band if I need to. I've gotten those all tuned up. I did that. It was somewhere in Colorado. I think I got all the bands tuned up.
You did a video on that, didn't you?
I did later. Yeah, I did later on
I remember you doing it was like a Survivor Man hand in the horizon thing that you were talking about, where the geological formation was like mostly like dolomite or something like that.
Well, that was talking about measuring the angle. So your launch angle that you would need to get out, which we'll get to when we get into some of this other Grand Canyon stuff. But in this case for tuning, I have set all my positions on my vertical antenna, and I don't change a darn thing from one spot to the other. And you guys saw that map, all the different places I've activated. Yeah. I don't change a darn thing. Now, I'm not an SWR snob. I'm not out there trying to find the absolute perfect best SWR reading or the reactance. I'm not trying to hit a perfect reactance. I just go out and set up my antenna. I got my antenna analyzer out to retune that coil a couple activations ago. I don't think I'd touched that my Nano VNA in over a year. I know my positions. I can say, all right, I got my whip all the way up. I'm going to operate on 15 meters while it's mag mounted to the truck. So I know I dropped 3 3/4 sections of that antenna, and bang, I'm tuned for 15 meters. If it's on the tripod, I collapse 3 5/8 sections of my whip, and bang, I'm tuned for 15 meters. So I do have different settings from the truck to the tripod, but other than that, I go all over the country and I don't change a darn thing.
Yep, that's awesome. You've completely standardized your operation, and it's landscape independent. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't care.
I've been on lava, on this rock. I've been on beaches, you name it. all over, and I've never changed a darn thing. Now, if I really wanted to get nitpicky on my reactants, and really trying to hit that perfect resonant spot, I would probably need to tinker with it everywhere I go. But I think that's probably the case anyway, even if I was going to similar parks all the time. But yeah, I kind of buck conventional thinking on that, Tracy, and I don't change a darn thing. I don't tune it up. As long as my SWR is better than like 1.75 or so, I'm good and I go.
That is a testament, to trial and error. And you've found something that works. And here's something. I mean, I've thought a lot about this, and I'm sure many other hams have as well. You're always chasing that holy grail. Well, this new antenna is going to work better than what I've got. I'm going to make more contacts. I'm going to get out farther, and on and on and on, rather than just settling on something that, hey, tried and true, it's worked for me. Why not just stick with it? And you found the recipe.
And I also think that trying to get the perfect
like that, though, nobody would buy new stuff.
You're safe on my channel. You're safe. I won't drain your wallet.
Well, the other thing is that you're being realistic about you're not going to get perfect SWR everywhere you go, and you don't have to.
You don't
That's
have
the
to.
point. Right.
The other thing to keep in mind is I have a incredible amount of variety just in the places that I'm going, the types of places that I'm activating it in. So using the same equipment over and over and over again does not get boring for me, and it's actually quite a help to me because everything else about what I'm doing is usually different. I'm never in a familiar place. I've got to follow my AI directions everywhere I go to get to where I need to be. It's nice having some familiarity. I like eating at fast food restaurants. I'm not going and sampling all the local restaurants everywhere I go. It's just
sir.
A little bit of familiarity is nice. Now, if I was in Kansas at home all the time going to the same parks, I'd be trying some different stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Where do you eat generally?
Out west here, the place I like to eat, In-N-Out can suck it. I like Jack in the Box. That's my place out west, and their quality has gotten really good.
I had you pegged for a Carl's Jr. guy, but okay, Jack in the Box.
Yeah, well, that's not bad either. But yeah, out west here, I like Jack in the Box. Now we're going out east here for a couple years, and I'm very excited to be near Bojangles. Have several months where I'm close to a Bojangles. That's probably
I don't
my
know
favorite.
what that is. What's a Bojangles?
It's Cajun chicken, if you don't know.
Chicken. Yeah.
And they do everything really, really well. All their sides are fantastic. Their sweet tea is fantastic. Everything is really good. They're starting to spread out in different places. I actually saw one in Vegas, but it's not you can't get a bucket of chicken. It's just chicken tenders. It's a very limited menu, but we could have a little bit of Bojangles, which was nice. It was still good.
We'll bring some when you come up this way.
All right. Very good. It probably won't survive the trip, though, Tim. I'll tell you. We'll eat it. I'll eat it if no one else does.
Won't go that far.
Hey, Mike, let's get on to that next photo because that just looked like it was, and here's the deal, right? In two photos right here. Sorry, Tim. I just have to say this. These two photos, either one of these would be my dream location. Never mind, and I'm sure you've got even more. And I know you have even more. It's like you are living. Everybody says this, and it's kind of hard. But man, from my perspective, it seems like you're living a charmed existence, at least from this perspective.
I'm probably a little jaded. I see other activators make videos, and they're out in a nice spot. It's out in some woods next to a lake, and they pan around and say, "Look how beautiful this is." And I think to myself, "My gosh, I'm so spoiled." I'm so spoiled.
See, I like this one. I like this one better than the other one. Is that Crater Lake? Where is that?
That is Crater Lake. Yep, you got it. That's at the north end. I didn't have the best weather day. We had a great weather day when we first got there, and the family and I drove all around the lake, and man, the color in that thing is just fantastic. It is absolutely gorgeous. I waited and waited and waited, and it kept saying the weather was going to clear, and I wanted that crystal blue color in my video, but
did you go out on
just
the
couldn't come
boat?
through.
Yeah, see, that's what I'd want to do. But
No,
that is
it was closed actually. They have just closed that down for
really?
renovations. They closed it just before we got there, and I think it's gonna be closed all this year.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
if anyone has any plans of going there and that's something you want to do, you might want to check on that.
Yeah,
I
because
think
that
it's
doesn't look
closed
like
for most of
July.
this year,
That looks like November.
Yeah, it is September is when we're there. And there was just a weather system moving through, and of course, you're at elevation there. It's cool. I never. I mean, obviously, it's called Crater Lake, but this place is just the base of a volcano. And when this thing erupted, it just blew the whole thing. Not like Mount St. Helens where it just blows off the cone and you get this big funnel. Like the whole mountain went when it erupted. It must have been something.
And legendarily clear.
Yes. Very much so. It has nothing drains into it. It is its own watershed.
Wow.
And there's some stump that's been floating around in the lake for God knows how long. They call it I think that it's the old man or something like that. And the thing to do is to see it, as you're driving around, because it's pretty small in this big lake. But yeah, that's a really fantastic spot.
Mike, are you familiar with Missing 411?
No.
Okay. You might want to Google it after, because Crater Lake is a hot spot for missing persons under unusual circumstances.
Oh, okay. Well, a lot of national parks
are.
A lot of national parks are, quite frankly.
Yeah,
they seem to be a target for that.
That's true.
And we'll get to the zone of death a little bit later, Tracy. That's an interesting one. So we'll get to some good lore. Yeah, so that's Crater Lake. This is another one we did this year.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Sausalito?
This is Golden Gate National Recreation Area. So I'm just
Sausalito.
on the very west edge of the San Francisco Peninsula.
Yep.
So the water there is the Pacific Ocean coming into the San Francisco Bay.
Beautiful.
One of my favorite spots is right across from that, up that mountain on the left side there. What a view of San Fran, right? It's a great view.
I thought of that sitting there. If I go back, that's where I'm going to activate. So you get the bridge and the whole city in the shot behind me. So I was seeing headlights up there on that mountain while I was activating. I thought, okay, I always try to make a list for next time. Next time I'm going to go there.
Have you guys driven across the Golden Gate at all?
We didn't. We were staying out east of Oakland, out in the mountains. So we had to drive quite a bit to get to this spot.
To get where you are,
Bay
The
Bridge.
white knuckle ride. I swear to God, I don't
Across Golden Gate.
I don't like it. The Skyway Bridge down here in Indiana. That's about the limit of my thing. I swear to God, the Golden Gate, it was a terror ride. I had to go back twice too. It was like shoot, but like no.
Because of its height, or
height, you're over the water. It's a suspension bridge, and I'm driving like this, and my wife's next to me. What's wrong with you? Like
we hit one by
wait.
We hit one by Lake Charles, Louisiana, and it was one of those that was super super tall for the freight ships to go underneath, and we're pulling up to it. And I just grabbed my wife's leg and started squeezing. I'm like, I just asked her, "What is that?" And it just looked like you could see tiny little cars in the distance, and it just looked like they were going up an elevator.
It's
so just going straight up. It looked terrifying. And I'm towing our rig across it, and that was
yeah. You're driving the monster, right? Oh,
yeah, that was pretty. That was pretty soon after we started too. So
and the wind. Oh.
Yeah. Life's an adventure.
I'm getting ill.
Let's see, Mike. There's a question here for you.
A New Brunswick. I haven't done anything in Canada, but let's see. Let's go back to the map here. It's not too far back. So there's a couple things there. The one to the south is the easternmost park in the U.S. It's actually the easternmost point in the U.S., which also happens to be a park. It is Quoddy Head State Park in Maine. So that's that one. It is actually in the U.S. There's the the size of the dot makes it look like it's in New Brunswick.
Right.
And then, kind of back to this point idea with the mapping system, we're not just trying to get into Maine. I want to actually see all of Maine. So we had to drive all the way up to the northern tip, to say we've seen Maine. And I want the little pins on my map to go all the way up there. I'm not just looking to color in Maine just because I crossed the border. When I got up there, I look at the POTA map and I see this ring of 7 or 8 parks around me. And I went through them one by one, and it was AT&O, 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 AT. Every single one of them had never been activated. Wow. And I thought this is too cool. So that's actually where I started my YouTube channel, is up there on the north end. And so my first videos are a 3-part series where I'm attempting to activate 8 AT&Os in one POTA rove, and it was tough. It was 250 some miles driving round trip. There's no twofers or anything like that. No easy outs. I am not familiar with the area. I can only do so much research. I only have so much time. So I'm just looking at Google Maps and saying, okay, it looks like I can get into the park there. It looks like I can get into the park there. And for the most part, everything worked, but it was an adventure. It was pretty interesting, but nothing in New Brunswick, but that's what those are.
Scout says the Mackinac Bridge scares him silly. It does too. Oof. I'm telling you, I just don't like that, man.
And it's open. That's what kind of freaked me out when I realized it was a grate underneath me, and as I'm driving.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No. Don't look down. No.
Well, don't go to Lake Charles. That's what I'll tell you. Stay away. Oh, I've gone too far. I've done it. Where was I? I was there.
There, you were at the Golden Gate.
There we go. Grand Teton, just south of Yellowstone. That's one of my favorite spots right there. 6,000 feet of prominence.
You got the right hat.
And I got the right hat on. That was my Yellowstone hat. So everything all the activations I did in that area, I was sporting the cowboy hat. But that's a fantastic one. That's one of my favorites. This was a really cool spot. This is Lower Falls along the Yellowstone River in Yellowstone National Park. This is one spot in my map I do not recommend that other people follow, and this is not one I would do again. Not a real safe spot. So that's one I kind of did something I shouldn't to a certain extent. But
one and done.
I've learned, everyone makes the joke about carrying a clipboard and wearing a hard hat in a yellow vest, right? And you can do anything you want because you look official. Well, I've learned in a park, if you have a wide brimmed hat and you're wearing green and tan, people tend to they leave you alone. Well, he knows what he's doing. And I could hear people from the viewpoint up above me saying, there's I thought I was hidden down there and kind of out of sight, which I want to be. I like to be kind of stealthy. And the first thing I hear is, some 6-year-old voice saying, "Hey, who's that man down there?" Like, oh crap, I'm not as hidden as I thought I was. But I got off trail a little bit. I had found a spot that I had found in someone else's video, and afterwards I just thought I don't know what I was doing. I should have just left. I should have just left that one. But
is that because you were concerned about getting lost? Like I don't know. I'm not following.
Well, I was off the trail, and it looked like what I had seen in someone else's hiking video. They hiked up in this spot, and it just looks like rock, right? It looks like I could walk around in there, and it wouldn't be any problem. But it was a little bit loose, and it was kind of on a slope. So after I did this activation, I'm kind of sitting there uncomfortable. I'm sort of having to hold myself in place. It's not like I'm in danger of falling or anything,
right?
But you could, as you're walking, you could slide. It'd be easy to twist an ankle or fall and break something. But after I left that spot, go ahead, Tim.
He's got his poor radio on sitting on the rock there.
Yeah, well, it wants a view too.
Good chest rig, man.
Yeah, I got to keep it happy. It's the only one I got. So I hiked down this boardwalk trail to get a lower look at the falls. And when I turn around and look back where I was, it's off that point. It's like a sheer cliff down, hundreds and hundreds of feet. So, be safe out there.
Yeah.
we're not always the best examples.
Now, isn't that weird? See, now those bridges will scare the shit out of me, but being on the edge like that be absolutely fine. You know,
Yeah.
when you have your like feet on ground, you know,
Right.
and look
Right.
out, you know, and there's a
And you're
horizon.
not going 70 miles an hour or however fast you drive, Tim.
Oh. Telling you.
Another spot in Yellowstone. So this is Lone Star Geyser. So I actually had to hike in a couple miles to see this one. And what's cool about this is this guy only erupts about every 3 hours. So a lot of people will hike to and see this spot and not see this erupt because they're just not going to hang around and wait as long. But me doing POTA, I know I'm going to hike in there, set up in a little spot that's kind of out of the way, not the main viewing spot. You can see some people in the picture here taking their picture. You know, I'm not in their way. I'm not in their shot at all. And I can sit there now for a period of time and wait for that thing to go off.
So who's taking your pictures there?
I've just got my GoPro set up and running while I'm activating.
Okay. Is this still? You don't make the kids come with you and take pictures and stuff like that?
Sometimes they got a little adventure fatigue after a while, but yeah, sometimes it's part of our family adventure. But
you made them get their licenses, right?
No. This is a homeschooling concept. You know, you don't force them to learn anything. That you wait until they're ready to pick something up, and then they will pick it up just like that. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing how fast their little minds can. Well, they're not little minds anymore.
So you never threatened to leave them?
Absorb stuff.
Yeah. You never threatened to leave them until they get their radio license?
Bye, Daddy.
Nice, Tim.
Yeah.
Another cool spot here. Canyonlands in Utah is a fantastic location, a fantastic park, very photogenic. Not one of the more popular ones. It is very, very remote, but just has some. I got a few pictures in here from it. These aren't in any particular order. That's that arch is used in a lot of famous. It's a famous arch that's used in a lot of marketing pics and things like that. Mesa Arch is what it's called, but I got a few there. This is one I did recently up in Washington. Washington is a fantastic state, but I call this my Bob Ross POTA.
Sure.
And
just makes you want to get like a little rod reel and just throw it in there. And
yeah, there wasn't much to that pond. I could see every inch of the bottom of it, so you wouldn't catch much, but it does kind of give you that vibe, doesn't it?
It does.
Well, it gives me the AI vibe. I mean, it doesn't even look. I know it's real, but it just looks absolutely pristine and idyllic.
Yep, and it's kind of fun to find spots like that. And we walked around. This is a place called Artist Point, and I've learned, that Lower Falls picture also has a place called Artist Point. And I've learned if there's anywhere on a map in a park that you're in called Artist Point, you should probably go there because it's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's like some kind of secret code. But we hiked around at the end of this point quite a bit to try to find just that spot. And when I stood there and saw that view at the lake in the foreground, and that mountain is actually in the background is in North Cascades National Park. Boy, it just set up beautifully, and I'm like, okay, that's my shot right there.
Yep, yeah. I'll bet you, as if you look at these pictures and where you've been, I'll bet you your noise floor is non-existent, right?
It's always zero. It's always zero, Chris. I very rarely have any noise at all. I don't hardly use any filters at all. I learned some battery saving tricks from Tracy, and I got those lights on my radio turned all the way down. I keep the filters off. That radio's not doing anything that I don't want it to, and I'm making that battery last. I was taking notes.
Yeah. I'm just thinking how clean and like when you're in receive mode, there's no noise sources anywhere near you, so it's nice and quiet. That's great.
I give a lot of. Sometimes I don't know what to do with the signal report. It sounds 5.9 to my ear. I know it's a 5, but my brain is saying S9, and my meter ain't moving, or it's at 1.
Right.
What do you? I don't know what to give people at that point.
Just mix it up. Just mix it up. Nobody really cares. 5.2. All right, 5.5, whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks, oh wow, he's in on it. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, look who the cat dragged in.
He got tied up on
Jeez.
his amp. He broke that too.
Mike, so you're talking about these remote locations, and you've got real experience with this stuff. I think there are probably a lot of people out there that would be nervous about going to remote locations because they're afraid of running into bad people. But you're not, apparently.
I
Speaking of
haven't
weather,
had
takes care of that.
any bad. I haven't had any poor experiences yet. A lot of these places that you visit, there's not a lot of grumpy people around. They aren't the kind of places that attract bad people. I suppose the camping spots would be the places that are most likely. But
well, let's be honest. I think your average bad person is probably a little lazy, and these places that he's going here look like their work.
Yeah. It takes some effort to get to them, and that's a great way to
pickings are a lot easier.
Safe, yeah. And I've learned that the four-legged predators really aren't that bad. Most of us that haven't had much experience are a little too paranoid about the four-legged predators, and we're probably not quite scared enough of the herbivores, the four-legged herbivores.
Do you carry?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Where I can, and Washington does allow me to. So that was nice. I didn't expect that. Yeah. So, but that takes care of the people. It's not going to do too much against a bear. I'm hoping at that point just a loud sound will drive them off.
Yeah. But they have bear spray for that. So.
Yeah. Right. That's spicy, maybe just for them. Who knows? Thankfully, I haven't had to use that yet. The nice thing when I do have the family around, if you got a 10-year-old boy with you, man, that is a great bear deterrent. Because they're just the whole way is just noise. And we had a hike up in Tetons where there was a black bear in the area. Everyone we passed said we saw a bear. We saw a bear. There's a bear up there. There's a bear up there. Everyone saw the bear on the trail except us. And I think it's because we had that 10-year-old boy.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I'm in front, but I want you behind me.
That's right.
You do your thing, son. You do your thing.
Good stuff. Hey, Tim, sorry, we have to do a little side trek here. Tim, do you want to respond to Steve's question here?
Oh, I did. I'm doing it in the chat. You don't have to worry about me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're all good.
Good stuff. Where were we? So where are we now?
This is more Canyonlands. So we're back in Canyonlands in southern Utah. So man, there's just so many nice overlooks out there, and it's just one of those where it looks fake. I'm surprised I'm not constantly having to defend myself against using like green screens and AI and stuff like that. Which I've used some green screens and AI, but never for a shot like this.
That's remarkable.
But the really cool spots end up kind of looking like Grand Canyon. Even when you walk up and see Grand Canyon face to face, it kind of looks fake because there's so much space that you're looking across. Everything's colored different. There's atmospheric perspective. There's so much water vapor between you and what's on the other side that it starts to look a bluish tinge, and it looks kind of fake.
Yeah, it looks like a painting. Yeah.
I gotta say, as somebody who grew up here in central Canada, I guess, Great Lakes area.
We don't have that.
When I got a chance to go out to the desert a number of years ago, I was in shock at what I saw out there. It was so different from everything else I'd ever experienced before. I literally couldn't believe my eyes. So I get where you're going with that.
I love it out here, and it's I'm a little heartbroken that we're leaving tomorrow, and I know it's going to be, it'll probably be 3 or 4 years before we come back, which really isn't that long in the grand scheme of things. But
where are you at again right now?
I'm just outside of Alamogordo, New Mexico.
Oh, okay. You got Starlink or something? What are you using?
Yeah, we're running on Starlink, which has done really well for us. It's been an absolute game changer. It was a little interesting up in the Pacific Northwest, constantly having find areas with no trees because we're heavy on solar too. Where we got 800 watts of solar on the roof of the RV. I need an open space, and that's hard to find in the Pacific Northwest in some places. But in a way, that makes it easier to find camping spots because I'm just, okay, here's a road going down a forest. Now I'm just looking for a clearing somewhere. There it is, and I got to go there. And, there'll be a few camp spots there, and we're good.
Hey, Mike, Rich has a question for you here. What's your tripod antenna base here?
That setup that you see in the picture right there, minus the whip itself, is all Wolf River coils. So that's their larger tripod base. And it's worked really well. I'd recommend it. I think there's a lot of tripods out there nowadays that work really well. There's the guys that have the ones that the legs can extend really long and it sits flat on the ground and does really well against the wind. There's a number of options. The key for me is getting the sandbags to put on the legs. And I have a affiliate link on all my videos for a number of things, and those sandbags are one of them. They're actually made to go up on an easy up awning. So you get a package of 4 of them and you hang them in each of the corners. You fill them with sand and hang them on the edge of the corners of the easy up awning, and that keeps it from blowing away, hopefully.
Right.
And that's what I use. But that's all Wolf River coils and then the chameleon on top there.
Gotcha.
One of these days, I need a wire antenna for a QRP rig. I'll hit you up then, Tim.
For sure. Got a couple.
Mount Rainier here.
Oh, wow.
That's in Washington also. Man, the desert Southwest is fantastic. I love it. Western Washington is also fantastic too. It really knocked my socks off. There's so many just drop dead gorgeous spots. And this was one of them. And to have the cloud layers come in from the sea and it looked like we were in a plane half the time because there was so much cloud vapor below our location. So this is a hike out to a Firewatch location. It's fairly famous. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but great view there. Redwoods National Forest. I really like that one. My timing of year, I don't think was very good. Propagation wasn't very good. I was starting to get at northern latitudes at that point too. And man, if you travel and go north in the summertime, boy, is it challenging. I don't know how you Canucks do it, but it's a whole different world. Do some VOACAP research.
I get the impression a lot of folks in the South don't really understand that.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
But it's a thing.
I think so. If you're down in the Gulf area, you're down in the southern state, I don't think it changes that much for you. But when you start getting into, this is almost into Oregon by the time you're in Redwoods, you get to that kind of latitude and things start changing in the middle of the summer and it starts getting really tough. The upper bands don't work. Okay. 20 is weak and 40, forget about it. There's just not enough people around you to use 40 meters, and it gets really limited. A lot of times I'm listening on 20 and that's all I got. I can hear people, but I usually can't communicate with them. And if I go to higher bands, I can't even hear people. It's really challenging, and it's something you got to put some VOACAP research into if you're planning on going to Washington or Minnesota or Maine or any of those places. It's gonna be different.
Oh, there you go.
So there's an urban location. So that's a little different. So we're running a vertical antenna now in a noisy location and still did just fine.
Are you in the is that in the Arch National Park there?
Yep, that's Gateway Arch National Park.
They get a little don't they get a little finicky about like setting up radio gear in there or something?
I heard they used to, and I think they are better now.
Good.
Kyle AA0Z lives in town. He's a good friend of my channel, and that's how we got to know each other. Actually, is he was making that very comment, and I shared one of my videos that I did, and I was like, well, I sat there and got 179 contacts, and
oh, beautiful. Yeah.
I didn't have.
Did you try loading up the Arch?
No.
I know a guy.
It will get finicky about that. I have a feeling.
I know a guy who tried to load up that Arch. See what happens.
That could be a problem.
Yeah, so that's fun. It's fun to do an urban location every once in a while. Here's another urban location. Sure. I'm actually activating a park on top of a parking garage, and what you see in the background there is the Strip in Las Vegas. but there is a national trail that goes right
Look
underneath,
at
or at
that
least the alignment
face.
of it.
Oh my God! You just left the casino.
Yeah. It goes. I'm kind of between the Strip and the Fremont district. If you know Vegas, I'm right. This is right in downtown Vegas. It's actually a city parking garage, and there's a civic building just to the left of this photo, to my right as I'm standing there. And I think eventually they did call the cops on me there towards the end, because just as I was putting things up and getting ready to leave, I had a drone buzz in right over top of me and sit there for about 30 seconds until I stuck my head out the driver's side door and looked up at it. I think it got a shot of my face and then left, or they could tell I was leaving. I don't know, but it came directly to me, hovered right above me, and then left. But I'm by a public building, and what we do tends to look kind of suspicious, especially when I'm doing YouTube stuff too. So I'm walking around and filming from this view and filming from that view, and I'm not a normal visitor there.
You're a forward observer. Look at
that. Yeah, that's probably what it looks like, something like that. But there's ways to mix it up in POTA, and that's what I like to do. So where am I going to activate in Vegas? Well, that's the way you can do it. Old Spanish National Historic Trail goes right underneath there, and that's about as close as I could get to the Strip itself, and still have a view of it. There's some solar panels right behind me. This was a really noisy spot because of those solar panels, and I was limited to using CW. So it was nice having that, have that option in my toolkit to be able to get that done, because voice was not going to happen. Let's see, we can go through this one kind of quick. That's another Canyonlands in southern Utah. So I decided to do some marketing imaging there. It's not totally a real setup there, but it gets the point across. Okay, so
go back for a second.
Sure, yeah.
Look at that radio just teetering on the edge of that stone. Just
it likes some adventure and excitement too.
One wrong move. Oh boy.
Well, here's the good news, Tim.
Yeah.
It's not Chinese, so if it does fall, it'll be okay.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I like some dust and scratches on my radio.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got to make it used, right?
Your radio looks too clean.
You're not a real operator.
That's right. Tracy, if it was a Chinese radio, it wouldn't break his heart. You just throw it in the trash and get another one.
You just go to the Radio Shack and pick one up. Yeah. All right, Philip is telling me that on your vertical there, you're supposed to open up the trap and look for spiders.
Open a trap.
Yeah, Tracy bought that new gap tightener or whatever.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. New to me.
Yeah, new to you.
I have no idea how old it is, but yeah. Well, it's really well sealed. And something that these antennas do, the 6-band TV, the 4-band TV, the 5-band TV series, they have these plastic caps on them, and they tend to break. And that's where the critters can get in. But I did take a cursory look. I'll do a little bit more in depth, but it looks like everything's intact.
I didn't want to derail the thing. If I didn't say something, I'd get in trouble. So
it's a live stream.
Yeah. Ouch. Oh. Oof.
Okay, so Tracy, you were talking earlier about places where people disappear, right?
Yeah.
This is the zone of death. Doesn't look like much, but this is a theoretical, this part of the park, this is Yellowstone National Park, as it overlaps into Idaho. Okay, it's mostly in Wyoming, but it does overlap just slightly into Idaho and slightly into Montana.
Yeah, the hills have eyes.
Yeah, so there's this all was born out of a theory that was written by some legal professor at Michigan State. And he came up with a theory of the zone of death. And it comes from our U.S. Constitution, which says that if we commit a crime, we have the right to a speedy trial by a jury of our peers that have to be both from the state and the federal district in which, a crime that whatever I was accused of, wherever it supposedly happened. Okay, so where the lore is coming with this spot is that if you are in Yellowstone National Park, you are considered to be in the Wyoming Federal Court District, but I'm actually in the state of Idaho. So this is
Okay.
it's an and, not an
Sure.
or. The
And that's where
jury has to
people-
be from both the
Yeah.
state of Idaho and the federal court district of Wyoming. And that's a tiny little strip of land within Yellowstone National Park with a population of 0. Okay, so if you're familiar at all with the TV series Yellowstone, this spot is the impetus for the train station, where they would
Oh, right. Yes.
get rid of bodies, right? Theirs was kind of phony and doesn't work, but this is the real life thing supposedly that exists. So Yellowstone you can activate from 3 different states. This one is particularly difficult to get to. I had to drive a long ways around the park to get to it. I think it was a 3-hour journey in one direction to go all the way around. I probably could, if there was a road that went straight, I probably could have been there in 30 or 45 minutes.
Right.
But I had to drive through, the whole western part of the park, out in the highway, all the way down south outside of the park, and then turn around and come back in and come back up north to get to the spot to get within the state of Idaho. But I wanted to activate the park from all 3 states. So there we go. And this spot's pretty cool. And it's a fun story.
Sure it is.
But, the theory is that you could murder someone there and get away with it. I wouldn't try it because, as I say in the video, if you're expecting the government to play from, if your plan involves the government playing by the rules, it's a bad plan. I wouldn't try it. They're going to do what they want. 3-hour tour. There you go. I did miss it. I'll remember that next time, Jimmy. Okay, so now we're going to get into some of these different setups. Okay, so
This looks like Zion.
It is Zion. Very good.
Oh, how about that?
Exactly.
That's on my
We're
bucket list.
Of Zion National Park. What sits in front of you here is one of it's a world-class hiking trail to the top of Angel's Landing. So that's what we're looking at right there. And Angel's Landing is a geological feature called a fin. So it's shaped like my hand here. It's very tall. It's taller than the Empire State Building in New York City, but it's also very thin. So when you get up on the top and you're walking along the top edge, the place where you can safely walk is only about 10 feet wide, let's say. And after that, it's not a drop off, but it's a good slope. You would not feel comfortable walking in that area. And then it goes for a few hundred feet, and then it's a sheer cliff drop off, and you're talking 1,500 feet. So naturally, this is the place that's intriguing. It's a little puzzle to figure out, how do I activate Zion from the top of this thing? And the place that we're going to go, I zoom in here a little bit. You see there's 3 trees right there at the top. You see those sticking up there at the very tippy top? Oh yeah, you can see with my mouse here. 1, 2, 3 right there. We're going to operate underneath this tree right here where my pointer is. So, the question is, and this is one I had to go to with a lot of safety in mind. If I can't figure this out, how to do this safely, forget about my safety, everyone else that's walking by, because this is a popular trail. I just got to leave it behind me, and just, it's a fabulous hike, and that's what the experience is. But can I figure it out, and can I get this activated? So now we're up on top here, and that's the tree. And what I decided to do is to run my vertical antenna right up inside of that tree. And I kind of got it, on one side of one branch and on the other side of another branch. So it would kind of be in there and not be in danger of falling out. There's a very large branch that keeps it from falling towards what would be the consider of the, yes, Scout, you're right. There's no way it's going to fall towards a trail. And you can see the trail there to the right of that tree. So that's the spot. That's the room.
See, right now, Mike's thinking 2 meter, right? Boy, I could get some VHF on that.
If you got some hams in the park, yeah, maybe. But I got my 17-foot whip up in that tree, and I got it attached, the base of it attached to my backpack to keep it off the ground because the coax in that Wolf River coil tripod, I'm just using the base of it in this case, screws in from the bottom. So I got to lift it up a little bit to get the coax in. I only used 3 radials, and I just cast them off the precipice to the left of this picture here. And then in the next picture, you can see I set up the radio underneath the root system of the tree there. And in the shadows, you can see my 891 hiding. You can see my orange straight key there. And then I sat on that root. So let's zoom back out here, knowing that we're doing that. I'm taking up no additional space on this trail. So that was my solving of the puzzle.
Well
This is one
done.
of my this is my favorite setup just for that reason. I was able to figure that out because people will walk underneath that horizontal branch, and you can see them in my video walking right past us, wondering what the heck I'm doing. But I've got nothing in the way. In no way would I want to stretch a piece of coax or an elevated radial or anything like that.
Well, technically they are elevated, right? So
What's that?
technically they are elevated.
We are elevated quite a bit. Yeah.
So
But,
is it windy up there? Like, I'm thinking to myself, that could be a windy location.
It can be, but keep in mind, I'm in an area for a couple weeks at a time.
Yeah.
That affords me the ability to cherry pick my weather. So everyone is giving you kudos, Tracy, for activating in some nasty weather. I'm the other end of the spectrum. I'm a fair weather activator. In this case, we had to take the weather that we were given because it was a lottery system involved in getting a permit to do this hike. So, and this was, we won the lottery on the last day that I had available. So we had to take the weather that we were given, which happened to be absolutely perfect. So that was nice. It wasn't blowing too much. It was blowing a little bit from the right in this picture. So I got the antenna leaning in that direction. There was some risk if a big gust were to come out, and if you live in a mountain area, sudden gusts are not uncommon. It could, there is some risk that it could blow the other way and start sliding down, but I would have some time to grab it before it went too far, to grab the coax and pull it back up, even if that happened. But no chance of it falling over on the trail where people are walking by here.
Very well done.
Snakes in that position, I don't think there's any snakes here at that time. That's probably the most hair-raising story I have, though, of bumping into wildlife on a trail is coming across a couple of rattlesnakes on a trail in Mesa Verde. I did not enjoy that experience. I was hiking with my daughter at that point, and both times we'd realized there was a snake in the area. I had gone past it and stirred it up, and then we'd stop, and it's between us. And then we had to figure out what to do from there. I did not enjoy that experience. I've seen a grizzly bear in an activation, and the snakes was the one I really didn't enjoy. That freaked me out more.
I get that.
It was good eating though.
Could be. As long as you're the one that catches it, Tim.
Yeah.
So we'll go to next. Let's see if I got another picture that shows. Okay, here we're at Delicate Arch. This is the famous arch in Arches National Park in Utah. So all the state marketing stuff, their license plates have a picture of this famous arch. It's a little bit of a hike to get to it, 1.5 miles. It climbs 500 feet, but it's something that most people can do if they feel adventurous, and it's a fantastic experience if you can. Naturally, that's where I wanted to go up and activate. But it was a little puzzle to solve. And my first attempt at it, it sits up kind of on a little precipice. I want to say that's a 300 or 400 foot drop off to the side there. And I envisioned in my head, the vision that I had was I was going to cast the wire of my infed half wave over the edge, and it'd be out there like kind of blowing in the breeze away from the land, and I could get it to work. But, expectation versus reality. The reality was it just, it's never quite straight up and down, right? There's always a little bit of slope to it. I couldn't get the wire all the way extended. I don't know what you call that, capacitive coupling, if it's just laying on the ground there. But the SWR just went crazy, and I couldn't get that idea to work. But I liked that because that was my little. This is a pretty busy area. There's going to be a lot of tourists coming up there to take pictures by the arch and things like that. I didn't want some big ham radio set up there attracting attention.
Yeah.
So I was trying to be as invisible as I could. So what I ended up doing after that was, let's talk about safety again. We're not always the best examples of operating safely, but
okay, that's just bonkers.
it is. Yes, you're correct. So what I'm doing there is I'm setting up my pack on that edge there, and I ended up running a wire across to that spot back over to where let's see, in the other picture this, the little mound you can see behind me there, I ran the wire across to that spot, and I'm back out of the way. No one's going to be walking through there. If they walk through my wire, they got a chance to grab it before they fall 400 feet to their death. It's not in anybody's way, and maybe it could help. Who knows? But the gauge on that black wire is so small, it really vanished. It was really, really invisible and ended up working pretty good. But I was able to elevate it enough that I could get the signal out from there.
You are committed to the bit, that's for sure.
Where I could get myself in trouble is I just get a little too locked into the mission, and sometimes you just got to say, you know what, I'm just not going to figure this out.
That landscape degree help you out there, though.
Yeah, this is the situation where a lot of these photos that you take around a precipice, it always looks the photo more dangerous than what it actually is. I'm still probably
I'm calling BS on this photo right here. That is dangerous. Come on.
We're talking about a relative range here. Yes, you are correct, Tracy. It is, but I'm probably 12 feet, from an actual edge.
12 feet. Well,
yeah. So I could roll a couple times and still be okay.
Oh, jeez.
Be safe out there. Okay, yes, and then let's see. Here's the big kahuna here. After operating at the top of Grand Canyon, which we saw at the very beginning, I had this idea floating around in my head that I could not shake. I'm trying to find what's the next cool place to operate in a park. Well, I've done Grand Canyon from the top of the canyon. What would be the next spot? Well, can I do the bottom? Can I do the bottom? Is it possible to do the bottom? And I couldn't get it out of my head, and I had to try it. I had to, part of the fun's planning, right? Planning these missions and trying to figure things out. And what eventually did it for me is watching a video of someone hiking down on the bottom. You can learn so much from these hiking videos. Mm-hmm. But I watched a video of someone hiking down the bottom, and as they panned around, I saw how much sky that you can actually see from the bottom of the Grand Canyon. And the real trick here is, as you're looking across this canyon, it looks like it's just straight down to the bottom. But that bottom that you're seeing is so many miles away. It's really not that much. Well, it's a big drop from where you're standing, but if you drew a line from where you're standing down to the Colorado River, that line would actually be a lot more flat than you would imagine. Imagine graphing something out on graph paper that's 10 units wide and only 1 unit tall. That's not going to be all that impressive of an angle. And that's what we have at the Grand Canyon. It's 10 miles across and 1 mile down. But when we're standing on the edge looking across it, it looks like it's maybe a mile or two across and 1 mile down. So it looks, you imagine something shaped like this in your mind. But seeing that video then just keyed it in my brain. Like, I totally think I can do this. I totally think I can do this. It's just a matter of preparing myself. The bigger trick is preparing my body to be able to hike all the way down and get my gear all the way back up. And the way it worked, what you can see in this photo, you can kind of see all the different sections of the Grand Canyon. You can see the actual rim in the background there. And then you've got some points that kind of come out from there and then drop off into these flat areas that you can see. And then you finally get to what's called the inner canyon, which is the final crack down there where the river lives. And that's really the objective when you get down there and you look out, you just got to get outside of that inner canyon, because once you do that, you're talking about the same angle to get to the actual rim itself, 5,000 feet up. It's at the same angle, but it's much higher, but it's at the same angle because it's so far back. So it's a little less of a puzzle than you would think. It's more about physically getting yourself into and out of this spot. So this is kind of as we're hiking down into that inner canyon, and you can see a beach there with some boats sitting on it. And that's my eventual operating location there at the bottom of the canyon. Just on the right side of the image there, you can see a bridge. That is the Black Bridge that takes the South Kaibab Trail across the river to the North Kaibab Trail, which then you can take up to the North Rim. But Phantom Ranch Campground is right down there, and that's where we stayed for 2 nights. And I activated down the bottom while we're there. But there you can kind of see, it is a little bit of a puzzle to figure out. It's just not quite as a big a climb out of there as you would imagine. So there's a view from the bridge itself, and you can see the little beach there in the lower right hand corner. So that's what I operated out of. I wish I measured angles there. In a later video, Tim mentioned a trick I had learned in school in measuring it's not azimuth when you measure the height of an angle. I can't think of the right term, but if you want the degree to get out of a spot, the way to measure it is with your fist. If I hold my fist out at arm's length, it ends up being about 10 degrees. So I can go through a process of stacking my fists on top of each other, and I can start to measure what my angle is to get out of a particular location. And what I learned on this operation, in later operations running out of the canyon and measuring those, it's about 30 to 35 degrees getting out of a spot like this in the bottom of a canyon. This is a fairly tame spot in the bottom of a canyon, but you're talking 30 or 35 degrees. And I've learned that hopping out of a spot like that with either a low horizontal wire, which I used here, or a quarter wave vertical, which I used in later adventures down in the canyon, still plenty of potential for multiple 1,000-mile contacts
on paper.
So yeah, on paper, of course. So from this spot, what I was thinking, what my plan was going down here is I'm thinking the canyon runs in such a direction that if my signal goes out down the river, that's where I'll have most access to the sky, to the ionosphere. And in one direction, I'm headed to Texas. Well, there's a lot of operators there, so I've got good potential for making contacts in that direction. In the other direction, I'm talking about Central California. Well, I've got some potential there as well. So maybe I can pile up 10, going in those two directions in line with the river. The first thing that happened, I guess I should go a little bit farther here before I go too far. There's my spot right there on the beach. So I just set my pack down and set the radio on top of that. I attached the infed half wave transformer. I just had a little carabiner on it. I clipped it on a dead branch of this bush and ran the wire over a 13-foot mast there. It's basically like the carbon 6 soda beam, but it's something else. It's for kites or something like that. I can't remember. DX Engineering sold that to me as a replacement for the carbon 6 because that one's so hard to find. But the wire goes up to about, let's say about 12 feet there, and then down on the other side. And with that, I was able to make my first contact was a park to park. I turned on the radio and panned over to a park to park, and he was in Washington. So that's not going the direction that I thought it was. That was hopping right over the North Rim, immediately to my north, and I was able to complete that.
Cool.
That contact, and I thought, wow, I'm in business. I did not plan on going in that direction, and I ended up getting Alaska in that direction as well. So that was 2,400 miles on this low wire. So there's a couple lessons from this particular operation of mine and a couple others I've done in the canyon since.
What band were you on?
20.
20? Yeah.
20. Yeah. I'm running 20 meters on what most people would call an invis antenna. And I've gone on a little rant since then about not calling it an invis antenna because it can do a lot more as well. And I have seen comments from other operators that fall into this trap. Well, if I drop my wire that low and I'm, less than a quarter wave high, now I have an invis, and all I'm going to have is 40 meters. And in a spot like this, I'm not going to make a whole lot of invis contacts.
Yeah, there's no invis on 20.
There isn't.
Exactly.
There isn't.
Now, in addition to that, Mike, we were talking to Steve temporarily offline, talking about operating in the desert. And I didn't realize this because I've never had the opportunity to operate from there, but he claims that the actual ground relative to your antenna is not at the surface. It's actually below the surface. So if you've got a low height wire antenna in the desert, it's actually, rather than being at the height it is, it's actually probably up another 10 or more feet because of where the ground. So I'm wondering if the same sort of thing is happening here in this location that you've got.
Possibly. That's an interesting theory to think more about, I suppose.
I think you'd have to look at the underlying geology, though, is going to make a big difference.
Yeah. Not all deserts are equal.
What is this here? This is mostly research. What, limestone, sandstone, kind of?
The bottom down here was all granite. The really old stuff down here, I think, was all billion-year-old granite. But, the thing is, you get that low antenna and your brain falls into that trap. I'm on invis. And I can't use 20 meters because 20 meters doesn't work on invis. Well, what happened was the fall, no, it was the spring before I went down. I caught on Facebook another operator running QRP CW from inside Grand Canyon. And so I asked him, well, what did you run? How did you do it? And he said, I use a low wire, but I run on 20 meters. The kick is, it's just not invis. Keep in mind the full picture of what happens when you drop that wire real low. It's not a beam of energy going straight up. It's a more well-rounded bubble. It just doesn't have that squished lobe that we like to send those signals out at a low angle. It gets more to a round bubble. Well, that round bubble is shooting out power at all angles. So I'm still getting out anywhere from probably 30 degrees to whatever the critical angle is for 20 meters. And I'm still able to make long distance contacts.
For sure.
And, for a couple thousand miles. So lesson one, don't fall into the trap of thinking that the low wire has to be an invis and I have to use 40. There's still plenty of other angles available to you out there. And, the second takeaway is that our terrain really doesn't have as much of an impact on our HF operations as we would think. It's gonna have a big impact on any kind of DX. But, if you're down in a situation where you're in a low area and need to call for help, I think you need to know that HF is a really good option, even if you have mountains all around you. Because, really a 35-degree takeoff angle, if you graph it on paper, it doesn't look all that impressive. But when you see it in the field, it's a pretty big mountain. It is substantial. And I actually, in operations in Yosemite this year, I would get to places like Half Dome and El Capitan, and I would try to position myself so that thing is really prominent. I'm getting as close to it as I can. I got a 50-degree climb to hop over Half Dome, let's say, and it's to my east. So a lot of people I want to get out to the east. It should block it, or we'll see how much it does. And that was my little experiment, and I was still able to hop over that at 50 degrees. And at 50 degrees, that mountain looks like it is right on top of you. It looks like it is right on top of you. I mean, it's, the lesson is regardless of having a horizontal or vertical antenna, that terrain is just not the block that you think it is. If you got low mountains on the horizon, no biggie. Maybe you don't make it to Europe or Asia or Australia, but for POTA, you still got so much available to you, so many activators out there available to you, and you're not trapped in that low spot.
Very cool.
All right, let's get to the flat places.
I don't know how to do flat places. So there's another spot in Grand Canyon. This is where I have learned now that I can drive down, and there's a little campground. This is where a lot of the boaters that go through the park, the river rafters, they'll come out right here. The tours will bring them out, and they'll drive out from here. So there's a fairly well-maintained dirt/rock road that you could bring most vehicles down, even a two-wheel drive vehicle down. You want a little bit of clearance, but most vehicles could make it down such a trail and access the bottom. So now I'm able to bring more equipment. I don't have to pack it down. I can bring extra batteries. This is where I tried my vertical antenna for the first time, because it's not extra weight in my pack now, and it did fantastic. So I've been down in this spot a couple times, including just a few weeks ago, and actually made a contact to Spain from this position. So that's my longest contact now from the bottom of the canyon. It was 5,300 miles to the north coast of Spain.
Nice. Phone, SSB?
Phone. I do all phone in the canyon, just to try to make it as challenging as I can. Plus, I enjoy telling people I'm in the, I'm not just in Grand Canyon National Park. I'm right on the river. I'm down on the bottom. Your signal's making it down here. There's another look at that spot. You can see my vertical antenna there behind me in the background. It looks pretty puny in that landscape.
Jeez. Hey, just a quick question here from Steve. So I don't know, Steve, of anybody who's replaced the metal body of the 891 with a more lightweight option. Any of you guys heard about that?
That would have to be custom. You'd have to do a custom. You'd have to do a custom stamp on that. That cost a fortune. Now I can see doing it with like a fiberglass reinforced plastic or something, like a 3D printed version. Do that.
Yeah.
How much you going to lose though? What are you going to save weight wise?
I think that's a really good question, Tim.
Yeah.
Can't of the whole weight of the radio, it can't be that much.
It's steel, right? No doubt about it, but an ounce or two, maybe. That could make a difference in some cases. I don't know if it's enough to go through, unless you just wanted to, because I can see that. That's some shit I do.
No, it's an interesting question.
I suppose you could just take it off and then weigh it naked, and see what it weighs then. And it's going to be less than that. How much you're going to take off?
And that'd be expensive too. Just the titanium alone.
Yeah.
Could you just print something like that?
I think you could. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything out there that would be like somebody would have catted it up already and put it on like Thingiverse or something. But if you pull it off and just take the measurements, you can do it. Sure.
All right, what do we got going on here, Mike?
No, I think I'm reaching the end of it there. Just a couple more pictures there, putting that puny little antenna into scale in that landscape. But
oh my gosh.
You have to be able to drive down there.
He got away from panning for gold for a while there. Do some radio.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, I like Shane's comment here.
That's right.
Hams can be really good at talking ourselves out of trying a portable radio adventures with antenna theory. Put an antenna up and give it a try anyway.
That's right. Just throw the antenna up.
For sure.
It's fun to try stuff that's not supposed to work, and that's.
So you spent a lot of time in the Grand Canyon. Did you ever hear the stories about the Egyptian hieroglyphs or anything like that? Did you ever run into any of those people? No.
Nope. A lot of that stuff I think happens between where I'm at here. This location is downriver quite a ways from the main part of the park, and I think somewhere in that stretch, There's a lot of reservation land and stuff like that, and there's some areas down there to explore. It's just pricey
Well,
to get
suppose
permits to go down there. It's like $40 a night or something like that. And
well,
you talk about a family of 4, and it
well,
adds up quick.
legend has it that somehow the Egyptians made it to the Grand Canyon and stuffed a whole bunch of gold in the Grand Canyon.
Oh,
And that's why you can't fly over it. And there are certain places in the canyon that if you go, like planes and black helicopters start showing up and they ask you politely to leave and whatnot, to check it out, man.
well, maybe it's up by Area 51. I mean, that was exactly the experience I had up there.
Skinwalker Ranch ain't too far away.
I literally had a Blackhawk going over around my head out there. So
There's a guy on YouTube
at night.
There's a guy on YouTube who swears that there was a gold cache found in the Grand Canyon, and they've sealed it off for when the dollar collapses, and then they're gonna bring the gold out of the Grand Canyon, and gold's gonna be the gold backed currency again. It's fun.
Anyway, be that
Nice
Laugh.
tangent.
Laugh it
Nice
up.
tangent.
Tim's getting the Jeep all equipped up for his
It up.
cross country run
Let's
to
see.
go grab some gold out of that canyon.
Well, no, you can't get there. That's the thing, right?
So, all right, more photos, Mike.
Nope, that's it. That's all I got.
All right, so let's.
I think
let's
I've
take
rattled
this-
on long enough anyway.
You've done a wonderful job. This is let me just.
I'm glad.
Let me show
I'm glad
everybody.
somebody's out there doing this kind of stuff because this is really cool, you know, and
Oh, yeah.
documenting their journey as they're doing so. I
Yep.
think.
No, like I take a look at the stuff that the places I've been, and I take a look at some of Mike's stuff, and it's like, man, I haven't even scratched the surface. This is
Well, no, he's fully committed to the. He's got the family in the RV, and they're going
that's
to
true.
places and doing it. Don't you ever get like, pull over? Just man, I just like to sleep. Let's get a hotel. You know, come on. Here's a little cabin I found. It's
thought
for
we
sale.
would.
Let's just buy it. Put up the RV and.
I thought that would happen more often than it does, but honestly, it's more convenient to even like if we go visit family, we'll be out in the driveway and we'll stay in their RV, and they'll be like, well, don't you guys want to come inside and stay inside? You want to come and use our bathroom? You want to cook it? It's just easier for us. I mean, we've got everything we own out here, and it's just easier to be in the RV.
And you guys are in close quarters like all the time, right? I mean, it's
all
like
the time. Yeah,
you're
we're
in
pretty
each other's
close in more
faces
ways than one.
every day. Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just gonna be. I'm gonna go take a walk, or I'm gonna sleep on top of the RV tonight or something. I mean, I might go crazy.
The lifestyle is not for everybody. My wife and I were both pretty easygoing people, and our firstborn is a very easygoing person, and my son is reasonably as well, but maybe less so than my than the daughter. And he's a boy. He's active and loud, and
How old is he now?
he's 12.
Okay, so
We've been doing this since he was 6 or 5.
okay,
Right. That's all he knows, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's got memories, but it's been a while, and
I
they
mean-
like not having to go to school because
because
they
I would
have
be
good
like, Dad,
understanding of all their
Wait, Dad,
cousins
you know,
and friends. They're going till 3 o'clock. And
yeah,
they
Dad,
done
drop
they're
me
done a lot
off.
faster.
Dad, I want girls. I want a car. I want to play football. I want
Yeah, well, we're starting to get some of that stuff now. We're heading back to Kansas and staying for a while, and the son's getting to play flag football. That's something that he's wanted to do. So.
Okay.
So we're getting into some of that stuff a little bit, and we've kind of gotten to the point now where you can see on the map we've hit most places. There's still some places we need to fill in. We know there's still some Great Lakes places that we need to get to. We haven't really been on the Florida Peninsula yet, but now we can hit those spots and just kind of go and stay there for a while and not feel like we got to run around and see everything.
Do they do any
we're
of
gonna
their
start
stuff
to
like
change our mode a little bit?
Do they do any of their stuff
I'm
like
sorry?
on TikTok or something? They have like a TikTok channel. And, oh, we're here now, and then that kind of thing. Or are you like the only guy documenting?
Not travel oriented, not really. My wife and I have tinkered with stuff like that on an RV channel, but it's just there's so many people already in that niche, and it stands out in the ham radio community, but in the RV community, it just It just really doesn't. It's hard to stand out, and you end up having to do kind of the stuff I'd rather not do in order to stand out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Let's
Is.
You
So
know, and go
let's
ahead.
talk about the digital mode revival.
Yes.
I got bones to pick.
Okay. All right. So the idea there spawned from me just wanting to, I want to be able to do all modes. I'm primarily an operator. I'm not really a tinkerer. So I figure if I'm an operator, I want to be able to do all things. Okay. Well, voice is a given. I'm working on CW. I've got 1,100 contacts or so, 1,000, 1,100 CW contacts in POTA. Okay, I can do FT8, but it really just doesn't hold my interest. To me, it seems like it's a good analytical tool. I don't enjoy the communication aspect so much. I'd rather have the keyboard to keyboard type
I know people want to
communications.
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it seems to me there's plenty of modes out there to do it. There's operators out there who want to run these modes, but very few do because they just don't make very many contacts, and
There's nobody there.
people, there's nobody, and so there's plenty of people, but no one's trying because no one's trying. It's kind of like what Into MAK is doing right now. Mike's trying to do with 5.2, with 14652. You got to get people out there trying. So the idea for the digital mode revival is let's set up a regular monthly schedule to have a group of people that just loosely organized, that just know on the first Friday of every month at midnight UTC, we go out and we run some pre-designated digital mode, and we get to make 8 or 9 or 10 contacts. And I had some successful activations with JS8 and PSK 31. What's the other prominent one? PSK, JS8. I'm blanking on the third one.
Well, I've known that there's been RIDI. You tried to do something on RIDI.
Thank you.
On
RIDI was the other one.
Feldhell. I don't know. I heard you on Feldhell, but you didn't hear me, obviously.
No, I only heard one signal.
There was one guy.
Night.
There was one guy out there. It was a four call.
Yeah.
Right. So I figured he was off somewhere in Florida or Georgia or something. You were wherever you were at the time. You guys could hear each other, but I got in there and was trying to do the thing. And I don't know. I tell you, here's my beef with that. Okay. So every time I have to do one of these kooky modes like Olivia or something like that, I have to go and I have to fire up the FL Digi, and I don't remember all the settings that I had to do it on and stuff. Right. I get in there and I'm 20 minutes in and I'm trying to make the damn thing work. And then, there's the 1 or 2 calls or whatever. And it was like, oh, okay. And by the time I figured it all out, I missed it. And by the time it rotates around again, I've already forgotten how to do that. So which was because I'm like a madman banging on the keyboard, right? But you're not hearing me. He's not here. Or I don't know if he heard me or not. It was W4 or STB or something like that.
MTB or something like that. I recognize his call. He's hit me a few times on those Friday night operations.
I've used Hellschreiber ever, and it was just like, I was like, wait a minute, how do I do this again? So it was like, okay, call me when you're doing PSK, or you're call me when you're doing JS8. My problem with things like FL Digi is it's one system to do all of these different modes. And this is just my opinion. Okay. And it is what it is, but a thing that tries to do everything doesn't end up doing any of those things really well. Whereas you have like a dedicated, like a JS8, or God forbid FT8 or something like that only does that one thing that seems to do pretty good. So I was going to suggest we should go back and RIDI has always been just a pain in the ass. And the only time I ever
we're right there. We're on the same wavelength.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm thinking of doing.
The only time I ever had any success with doing RIDI is when there's like a contest or something like that. Because I remember when I first started, I wanted to do all of got to do all these modes, right? And you get on there and you finally figure out, like, what was it, MMTTY at the time, to figure out, and there's like 7 menus that you have to have the proper settings for. I was like, nobody's got time for that, really, unless you're like a RIDI bro, which I'm not. I mean, I'll do it, and the contest is cool. I tried it, right? It's done.
Yep. These
You know,
are
but
the
I'm-
practice things. It's
Yeah,
why we got to try to get out there and do it
yeah.
on a
So I
regular
got,
basis to figure all this stuff. I mean, that's really the trick to digital communications, right? It's not hard to type. It's about getting the
right.
system set up
Yeah, but it's getting
and
all
operate.
this stuff set up. So 15 years
Yep.
in, I've got maybe 100 ready contacts that were, mainly during a contest or something like that.
Right.
And tried to dial them in, and
So, the overall goal here is I'd like to be able to go out on a POTA on any given day and be able to activate using JS8 call or VIDI, and not be dependent on doing that during a contest or something like that. That's the real goal, is to at least get one mode that I got enough people out there that are set up for it, that if I spot myself on JS8, they'll get excited. It'll come into their ham alert or whatever, and I'll have enough people hunt that I could activate a park that way. And, if you're a POTA operator out there and you don't have a digital mode or CW in your back pocket, solar minimum is coming. I'm not a solar minimum doomsdayer, but there's going to be times where it'd be nice to have a mode like that in your back pocket. And
For
if
sure.
you're like me, FT8's just not going to hold it for you. And it'd be nice to have something else.
it was cool for a while. JT65 was when I first started. JT65 came out, and that was like my intro to digital modes. Right, I didn't have to set up Ham Radio Deluxe for any of that stuff, and you didn't have to do FL Digi or any of that. It was just JT65, and it was cool, and I was able to work it enough to where I didn't have to really think about. I could concentrate on doing the radio thing and not worrying about the software thing, which JSA call like that now.
Guys, can we wrap this up? We've got to pull the plug here in a couple of minutes.
What?
Sure. And I'm dead serious. We have to do this
Well, Tim could talk digital modes all night long.
next time.
But he hates to
So,
talk.
okay, so
but
bottom
hold it. He hates to talk on the radio, but he'll talk about this. all night.
Listen, I don't have any medical conditions. Okay, I don't. I'm not interested in. Nobody's interested in what I had for dinner. Okay, nobody's
Weather.
Yeah, it's cold. Okay. What are we gonna talk about, right? I'm talking politics with anybody, so forget that.
Yeah. Well, we'll tie a bow up on it and say just first Fridays every month at midnight UTC, and we're gonna I got in some niche modes and kind of lost some momentum, so I think we're gonna cycle the big three there. And if maybe we decide we want to do something like a Hellschreiber, we could do that in addition to. So every month we'll just cycle through JS8, RIDI, and PSK. And that seems to work for most people, and try to build some momentum. I'm kind of dedicated to it, at least through this year, to try to build some momentum and get enough people that it can kind of stand on its own.
I was asked because PSK.
I tried to tie a bow on it.
Yeah, PSK was the thing. RIDI was a thing for a long time. Hellschreiber's never been a thing, or Olivia has never been, even on a good day. I never heard anybody run Hellschreiber. So, okay. Fine.
All right. Good stuff.
We did it.
Mike, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. It's been great. If you have a few minutes after the stream, hang around while we debrief.
Of course.
And gentlemen, we've got 2 minutes. Chris, do you have anything quick to summarize with before we duck
I
out?
agree with you. I agree with you, Tracy. Seeing the sites he's been at, I'm certainly a little boy when it comes to that stuff. So, but fantastic. Hats off to you with the stuff you've been doing. It's great stuff.
Thank you.
All right, Tim. Last words.
Also, it's okay now. I can.
Oh,
You got 1 minute and 58 seconds.
No, I think it's, again, like I said, I think it's absolutely super cool. Somebody's doing what you're doing out there with the traveling and the POTUS and the RV and stuff like that. I would love it. I'm afraid I would kill somebody 6 months in, though. Honestly.
Thank you. The idea.
Well, thanks very much.
The idea is.
Thanks everybody for joining
operating.
us. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah.
My apology.
Yeah, no, fine. The idea is just to get people out there inspired to operate, try some different stuff, try some different places, get out there and have some adventures of your own.
Absolutely. Thanks again. Been a pleasure having you. Looking forward to keeping in touch afterwards. Everybody,
Been a
thanks
blast.
for joining us. We really appreciate the company. Hope you got something out of it, and we'll see you next month. 7-3, everyone.
7-3.